All right, what is up? Welcome to the Spoiler Kings. We are going to talk about Talamasca, the new installment into the Anne Rice's Immortal universe. We already got Interview with the Vampire, season 1, season 2, Mayfair Witches, season 1, season 2, and now we got the Talamasca, the Secret Order, tying everything together, uh, coming out right before season 3 of Interview, or Vampire Lestat, whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
So yeah, so we got the first 2 episodes, so we're gonna be talking about both of those. So if you haven't watched it and you haven't seen any of the spoilers yet, to give you guys a heads up, we're gonna get into all the spoiler talk. But pretty much it kind of really starts you off as if you know nothing, It
It
it,
does.
it
Mhm.
kind of
Mhm.
guides you into what the Talamasca is. And if you never watched any of the other Anne Rice stuff on AMC, it kind of starts to ease you into that as well, which is pretty cool.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, so like I said, we're gonna get into the first 2 episodes. We'll start off with Brand Man. So what you think about the beginning of the show?
It did pretty good at hooking me. I liked how it kind of established things pretty quickly, like what we're gonna be kind of watching unfold. I think the
Mm-hmm.
introduction to Guy as a character um y- was a big selling point for me. I like the idea of there being like an organization in the Anne Rice universe that basically monitors everything else, like all the other supernatural stuff that we've seen. It feels like an appropriate way to expand the universe at this point in time. Love seeing Daniel show
Mm-hmm.
up. That
Mhm.
was really cool.
Yeah.
So mhm, it has me wanting to see where they go next with it. Um
Mm-hmm.
I thought the rules of the show were established pretty efficiently. Like I said, the characters are pretty engaging, interesting to watch. So yeah, I'm waiting for the second episode for sure.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Was it in 2 episodes that came
Were there two?
out?
Sorry, I was like lagged out a little bit. Yeah, it was 2
Mhm.
episodes.
Yep.
Oh dang, I
Because
didn't even watch the
the
second
first
one.
one was, we watched it and we were always there. That was that
Hmm.
beginning episode where we saw, really introduced Talamasca, trying to get the
Hmm.
guy in there, and him realizing that it's a lot of lies in between, that they've been controlling his life, and you get the wilderness of mirrors. That was the other
Hmm.
episode that we talked about. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah. Uh, for me, I think that they did a pretty good job with introducing who it is. And so if you're watching this code and you didn't watch Mayfair Witches, I think it did a good job of really giving you an idea of who Talamasca is, and then even letting you know it's more of a mystery because you don't know who is what and who's telling you the truth. And you mean this main character guy, and you realize he's not very happy that all this stuff is, his life has been basically planned out. He feels like he hasn't done or hasn't earned anything himself. So, seeing him go through what he goes through,
Hmm.
um, not knowing which side he's going to choose to be on,
Mm-hmm.
I thought was actually really interesting. I think they did a good job with it. I'm very interested to see where we go from it. I don't know who's the good people, who the bad people. I don't know what side we're going to actually be on and end up on. And I think that's something I'm interested in seeing. I'm glad that we don't know what side we're going to have and who's going to be what and where guys going to end up being on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Same. Like it was just it being like this spy thriller kind of, but
Mm-hmm.
blended into this Anne Rice's world that they're doing. So you get a lot of the supernatural kind of stuff, except for zombies. zombies
Yeah, no,
zombies
the
are not.
zombies obviously are not real.
I thought that was funny. They're like werewolves, vampires, but no, not zombies. Um, but yeah, just I enjoyed them setting it all up. I enjoyed like kind of like finding out like Talamasca has enough power where they're able to like literally, push him into exactly where he needs to go, or push him to
For his
be where
entire
he needs to
life?
be for his entire life. They made sure full scholarship. That was like something that was interesting. They did these little things where he didn't think about a lot, until he was forced to think about it. It was like, oh yeah, you got full scholarship. And then remember, like when he was in the interview, for the job, where they're like, you got a full scholarship. They're like,
Yeah.
damn, so yeah, so they set up all that stuff, and then the second episode is when the actual stuff starts happening. He goes to London and starts doing all the spy stuff. I thought that was the start of the actual show. Because then you start seeing things, and I don't know how you felt, but it was like when you see they make a point to see, like, oh, she has a lot of paperwork in her bag. You're like, oh wait, what? And then there was the whole Blade nightclub scene. And if
that's exactly what I thought too. I was like, yeah, wait the blood rain. That's why I'm waiting for the blood rain to come down.
There's a scene in the second one, where he goes and meets the girl, and I'm like, this seems very Blade-ish. It seems like a very vampire, nightclub thing. And then the other girl came in, which you're still like, what? And the whole time I'm like, okay, Blade's gonna come in. Like, it's like they're doing Blade better than MCU right now. just the anticipation of it.
Do you like the connection you had with Interview with the Vampire? Like the things they did, connected to kind of give you, they kind of stayed away from Mayfair Witches, all that stuff, but they connected to the Interview with the Vampire a lot. Yeah,
right off the bat.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. It's like, if you got to start a new show and you have these two other shows who are already established, you're gonna go with the one that people love, and but it also makes sense, and it was like right off the bat where Helen, brought Guy in to meet the vampire, and I'm like, oh, who's this gonna be? It's gonna be because he had the Dracula kind of painting in the background. I'm like, oh, he's gonna meet this, like, I was waiting for like a Bram Stoker's Dracula, like Gary Oldman, with the big get up and something stupid, but luckily,
you thought he was gonna have like the stuff on his head,
the little rolls on his head. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, oh, are we gonna get something stupid? But luckily we didn't. Jason Schwartzman was Burden, and that whole scene I thought was like super fun, But yeah, that's I'm like, oh, it's just an interview.
I thought they were going to go into Louis. When I first was seeing the door, I thought that they were going to go into Louis, and Louis was going to be the vampire he's going to speak to, the Talamasca and all that stuff. After the book being released, that he owed them one, and that you're going to go in there and really hard connect these series.
Yeah, that would have made sense too, because then it would have been an easy way to protect Louis. Because obviously he's, Louis gonna, need some protection, because he's got some people coming after him. That would have been cool.
All
would
have
been cool with that.
I know all the vampires.
Yeah, pretty much all of them. But having a new vampire and able to explain the lore, I think the outside of it, because he told you now, he goes, I betrayed my kind because I am working with Talamasca, so now he lives there in like protection / jail, so it's like, so if you watch the interview, or if you just plan on watching like the next season of Vampire Lestat, you're kind of getting like, oh, Louis did some bad stuff and he betrayed his people, so
is he gonna also be stuck there in his own little prison? Is that what he was before?
Yeah.
With him and Armand, he was stuck in his own little prison.
Yeah, but that whole, I think that scene from the first, that was the first episode. With Burden and Guy, and then their little back and forth, and then Guy showing he's got some power. Where Burden was like, whoa.
Burden was trying to put up a wall, and Guy just went and blessed right through that wall in a second. That was interesting.
Yeah, but also shows you how like somebody like Burden is powerful, because he just like waved his hand and boom, everybody stopped.
Yep.
It was just like, boom, and then he did the mind trick and stuff like that. So it's
That's when he
like,
knew he's an ancient vampire. That's what
hey,
you
he's got
started to
some years.
know.
Because he said he was what,
It's a 300
380,
something. Yeah.
which is not that old
It's actually, young overall to have
for
the
a vampire.
power
Yeah,
to be able to do that
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. So I kind of hope we get a little bit more of Burden's backstory a little bit. I like Jason Schwartzman as him. I thought it played him pretty good. I thought it played
Well,
pretty good.
he's older than Louis, tell you that much.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
And depending who turned him will determine how powerful it really is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, but that's what this show. I think this show did good so far. Was it gives you a lot of questions, man. It shows you a lot of the secrets. So it's like all these secrets. What's the 757? Or well, I think it was 757.
Yeah.
What's this? What's that? So it was just like, who really is Jasper? Because the whole time I'm like, is Jasper? Is he a vampire? Is he not a vampire? Is he like a former Talamasca guy that's like deciding to run it? So it was like they kept it kind of quiet until like the end of the second episode. So they're doing a pretty good job at a show called The Secret Order.
Making it more of a thriller, or a
Mhm.
mystery, trying to understand what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
as someone who we both love the Anne Rice universe,
Mm-hmm.
are you happy they went this way with Talamasca rather than it doesn't feel like with Mayfair Witches? It actually seems interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But was there something that you would rather them do?
I don't know. I mean, there's nothing that they did where I ever felt bored, where Mayfair Witches, like, right from the start, I was kind of like bored, from episode one. This was like, okay, what's going on? I was always kind of like paying attention with stuff, and there's times where I'm like, oh, and I'm like, oh wait, is that?
Yeah.
So you get a lot of that kind of stuff, which is always fun, as a viewer. Nothing. I
That's why I
can't think
thought
of anything too much, but
that's why I thought that was smart for them to connect it so much with Interview with the Vampire, because
mhm.
you have that. Hey, look there! Do you see that? You see what he did? Or you see the connection with this? Oh, I love when Daniel did this. Daniel looked like he's gonna be a badass. He's gonna rip his throat out.
Mhm.
They're able to talk on this different levels, and it's interesting to have that type of connection. I wonder if they have to keep on dipping to that well though.
I hope not. I because then you don't want to overdo it, because then it kind of cheapens it, where like it relies on that,
Mhm.
rather than its own story. So I hope they don't go that full route. I feel like we still got to get the tie into Mayfair Witches somehow. I think it might be what's his name, the Talamasca in Mayfair,
Sip.
like Sip. I think he might be popping up. Which makes sense. He works for Talamasca. He's now in charge of one of the New
Offices, the main
Orleans
office in
office. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So that makes sense, but I just don't want them to overdo it where it's like all the time. It's like something else, something else, something else. But
So you feel
using
like
the book, I think was cool.
like even using you don't want to be like how Boba Fett was Mandalorian 2.5. You want it to be its own thing, to give us the opportunity to have its own
Exactly.
story.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. They keep expanding it. Yeah. Yeah. You want it to be its own thing and not half of like, oh, this is just an in-between season of Interview with the Vampire. I don't want that.
This is
Like
just getting
we already getting another season. Yeah.
getting your whistle wet for Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah. Like if this should be what I think a lot of people are expecting, and it should be like a connection to everything. This is how you're going to connect these different shows, So that's what I want more of it, rather than it being like, a point and look kind of thing.
Mhm.
It is fun because when he opened up the Interview with the Vampire book from
Yeah.
Daniel. I don't know if you did, but I paused it. I paused it.
What is he going to say?
Yeah, because also I wasn't sure. I'm like, what is that the book, or was it something else? And then obviously I saw like Rio Rashid, So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, that's the book. 100
Yeah.
right off the bat. I saw that. It's the book. So
The
I'm like
fact you say
reading.
real Rashid. Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, it was in the, it was in there. So I'm like, okay, that's definitely Daniel. Because he's like, oh, real Rashid brought me my morning coffee. I was like, okay, yeah, that's definitely that. And then he's talking about like Armand and this, and I'm like, and it was funny because I'm like, I don't remember them talking about this like massacre thing that they're talking about. And I'm like, huh? And I didn't think anything about it. I was like, I just didn't. Maybe it's a whole book, so obviously we didn't get every little part of the book, but then we get the part of when he finally meets Daniel, and Daniel's like, "Oh, I didn't write that. They made me put that in there." And
I
I
was
was
going to
like,
ask you, what do you think about having a pieces of that book being Talamasca placed in there?
stuff like that made me so happy because it doesn't change everything that's happened before it. It adds to it. It adds to it because now you're just like, oh, what else did they change?
And how
How is that
powerful are
going to
these
affect?
guys?
Yeah,
How
how powerful are
they?
they?
If
Like,
you can't do anything without them saying okay.
yeah, because I think obviously there's enough of Louis stories in the book to piss off other vampires in the world, but for them to put stuff like that in and then it cuts back to episode 2 of their secret message decoding system is through books. So like to me, I'm watching this and I'm like, this is smart. This is like, you get this book that they know is real, but you start to put your own things in there to hide stuff that only other Talamasca people would know. So it's like, bro, I'm like, this is what I want. This is what I wanted.
I thought the
So,
fact that they pointed that out means that they're going to use that someone's going to use that against them. You don't point that out in the first episode if you're not going to go back to it, dip back in that well.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, but I just thought it was good.
It's a good start. You don't know where it's going to go, but it's a good start, and you can enjoy it from that. When you worry about something that starts off poorly and you think, oh, it has to get better, it never does. But when you have a good start and you're looking at it like, okay, I can respect this, you can be happy with it, and I'm happy with what we got.
Even in the second episode, with the whole death scene, with the girl and then the dude, and I was like, what happened? It's just a lot of like, why didn't he grab the bag? So yeah.
Would you have made the same choices the guy did?
That is a good question. That is really interesting. Because especially with him, I think because they molded him, they definitely like molded him and groomed him to be making the decisions that they want him to make. Because I think the interest intrigued him, whereas like, hey,
but he got to the law firm he always wanted to get to. Do you think they would allowed him to walk away?
No. We see right off the bat, she bribed him. She goes, "Oh, just come meet with me, and I'll give you $5,000." I was like, "Who does that? Who just like just come and meet with me, and I'll give you money?" Because they know he needs money, so they definitely manipulated him to get there.
But didn't Helen like say, "I hope you leave. Maybe you should leave"?
Yeah.
Was she being honest with that? I think she was being honest with it. I do hope you leave, because if you're
Probably.
not, we're going to use you.
Yeah. But also, is that manipulation? Like, is he the kind of dude where he's like, "Don't touch that," and he's like, "Well, fuck, now I gotta touch it." Like, if she knows him that well, telling him like, you know what, go work at the safe place, go live your dream, all this mystery, don't worry about it, you don't want to know what's behind the door. He
He goes to bed at night, he's sitting in his bed like this. was
Yeah.
behind the door.
Yeah. I mean, literally, that's what happened in the show. I mean, you didn't say that, but he had the burden playing in his head. He's like, "Oh, don't play with stuff that you can't get to," and blah blah blah, this and that. So it's like he literally did that. He couldn't sleep because the door started to crack open, and he got curious. Yeah, yeah.
What do you think that Burden was trying to tell him?
What do you think? I don't know. What are you thinking?
Because I think the Talamasca is a split organization.
Ooh, okay.
I think that it used to be one thing and now it's being split, and he's being guarded by one, but there's other organizations, another way to do these things, and they're going to use you because they're in the middle of a war that we don't know about.
And
I think that he's going to tell them that, hey, this is a war. You are a knight in this war. It's right if we're talking about chess. You can move around a lot of different places, but you can choose which side you are still. I think that's what he was trying to tell him.
Yeah. Like you can pick and choose.
Yep. You can still choose what side you're on. You are a powerful piece. You're not a pawn.
Yeah.
Don't let them tell you that you are.
Yeah. He knew. But I think also he was kind of telling telling him too is like, what do you say? Like the mind's a two-way street, so, and then when he, had him go out on the ledge and stuff like that, he kind of opened his eyes. Is like, hey, you're also not the only dude who can do stuff like this, so, kind of warned him, like, if you, whatever route you go, you gotta be careful, so that's why I really enjoyed in the first episode, the Burden and Guy, interaction. I was like, that was really cool. I enjoyed that. Plus the Daniel, I thought the Daniel stuff was cool. The second episode was just, I felt like it was kind of meandering a little bit in the beginning, like him trying to figure out, but by the end was like, okay, like the stuff is starting to happen, and now he's starting to really question, did he make the right choice? So
what do you think about his mother, his adopted mother?
Yeah, just got paid.
Yeah, totally. He's like, mom, and he's calling her mom, and she's like, yeah, you're a means to an ends.
Yeah,
You're
like
the reason
you got us money.
That's all it was.
Yeah, you're a paycheck. Yeah, which is not bad. I mean, I don't know. Like, I wonder if they ever explore that. I don't think they will, because you get introduced to the real mom. Right off the in the first episode. So I think they're gonna go down that route. But I wouldn't mind if they kind of touch to see, maybe they actually did love him, but also feared him, and feared who he was and who he was connected to. So let's see.
Okay.
What's up, Dan?
What up, Dan?
Appreciate that. So any parts in season first two episodes that you were just like holy crap, that's awesome, or like,
I think most of my holy crap that's awesome came in episode 1 or the end of episode 2.
Yeah,
like most of the things like, oh my goodness, was always connection stuff, because that's kind of what we were doing in episode 1. We were looking at what is this episode, this show, and it was all connected to Interview the Vampire. I think that was really cool. And then when we got into episode 2 and we started to really unravel stuff, that was really interesting too.
Yeah, because at the end of episode 2 is when we find out Jasper's a vampire.
Yep.
And
even though I always
like,
assumed Jasper was a vampire because look at his eyes.
Yeah, and also it was just really interesting what was going on in London, where he had this power, and you're just kind of like, okay, that's kind of interesting, and then when who is it? When the other dude who got the card stolen from him, from the girl, like when he like looked at the camera, he's like, oh, if you ruined this place, that's when I'm like, okay, like this is like a hostile takeover, I'm like, so he's not an insider. I feel like he's definitely an outsider controlling a lot of stuff. So, yeah. So, and of course, it's William Fincher. So it's like he's gonna be a bad guy.
Exactly.
Like he's gonna be a bad guy. What
making
else
a
is
good
he
guy ever. Come on,
Yeah.
guys. Come on.
No way. No way. It'd be interesting if they do, but now that we got like a lot of the players on the board, I just want to kind of see what's gonna happen. I'm really, really curious.
Do you think Guy goes more with Helen or more with Jasper?
I don't see. I need to see what Jasper tells him, because I feel like Jasper's going to be a good salesperson, and I think he's going to tell him the truth right off the bat. He's going to tell him like, here's this, here's this, here's this, and I think that's going to lead Guy into like wanting to trust him more, where Helen was like purposely keeping
Hiding
things
things from
secret. Yeah,
Mhm.
But I think it's going to be to his benefit. Like you don't need to know this right now. So that's what I think it's gonna be. It's gonna be like who's he gonna work for? Is it gonna be him or is it gonna be her? And it's gonna be a constantly back and forth. But one's keeping secrets. The other one, I really think Jasper is gonna be. Here's the truth. Here's the facts. Here's everything I know. I can't lie to you. And the other person's like, well, it's a need to know basis. So, yeah.
Kill him with honey.
Pretty much, pretty much. Yeah, but yeah, I'm into it. The only bad thing is today, so it's Monday, so it's only been a day since the episodes that have come out. It's not doing good. Like the ratings are not doing good.
And people aren't going to see it, but I think that has a lot to do with Mayfair Witches.
Possibly.
Because Talamasca was major Mayfair Witches, and people just were done.
Yeah,
we're done. And it should be going really well right now, because I mean, it's Talamasca deal with vampires, and you're thinking about it at the end of October. This is Halloween, so it should be doing well, and it's not. So,
did Mayfair Witches really do that much damage to the brand?
I think if it's not Interview with the Vampire, if it's not Lestat, if it's not Louis, possibly.
And does that tell you that the rest of this Anne Rice universe is going to have Louis and Lestat, or it's going to fail?
It could. I think Talamasca is the deciding factor.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the show's going to be the deciding factor. Is can it hold its own? Obviously, it's not going to be nowhere as good as Interview with the Vampire, because you had two amazing actors portraying two amazing characters that people just love. But I think if Talamasca plays it right, I think it could end on a good note, and hopefully it leads into people liking it. So hope. But I mean, it's got a 59% on Rotten Tomatoes right now.
Yeah, I expected higher. I was thinking at least like 60, 65.
Yeah, it's not doing good, man. Like IMDb 6.5 out of 10, Metacritic 64%. I think Google was like at 35, which is crazy. But
they're trying to forge a new way. They're not just following exactly what's going on in books, and I think that is going to piss off some people.
Yeah. Well, so here, this is one person says, I could barely stay focused on the show because the way it was filmed, almost like a college student using his camera to do so, or maybe using lightning. It all looked fake. The refresh rate on it was very off-putting, and my girlfriend, when we were watching it, she goes, why does it look like that? And I was like, I don't know, honestly. It was very weird looking. By the second episode, I think I was okay with it, but I feel like it's gonna take every week. It might take a little, like 10 minutes to like
you get used to the way they're shooting it, the way it looks, and then
the way
it come back.
Yeah, because some of it was very off-putting. Like there's a part where they're walking, and they're crossing the street, and it just everything looked fake. It looked weird. And I believe it was like the refresh rate and bit rate that they were using. So I don't know.
I thought it was
Yeah.
only me who was kind of put off by that.
Yeah. That was one thing I forgot to mention, but I had people in this reviews are saying it. One person said 2 episodes of walking behind people in New York and London. I thought the Mayfair Witches was boring, but this one, just the terrible Daniel Malloy cameo, was the only good thing so far. Okay, I mean, there's a lot of following people for sure in the first 2 episodes.
There was, wasn't there?
Yeah.
It's a who done it.
Yeah.
It's a mystery. So I mean, isn't that what you have to do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, here's another person. The lighting and the camera made it feel like a budget of a soap opera. Can't watch it based on that alone. Which, damn. Yeah. So, but I mean, you get a lot of people saying, great start. I really enjoyed episode 2. Yeah.
What do you say it is? What are your feelings on it?
What do you think, Brian?
I thought it was a solid start. I thought it was fine. Like I said, it made me interested enough to see what happens next.
Yeah.
I always, excuse me, I always have to give a season like 2 to 3 episodes to kind of to sell me.
Yeah.
And yeah, I didn't even realize there were 2 episodes so far. So after this, I'm going to watch the second
The
one.
second one.
Because I TiVoed it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how it usually is for me. I thought it was fine.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, everyone's giving like a 6, 6.5. I'm probably a little bit higher on it, maybe like a 7, 7.5. Like it was fun. I think the second episode they should have done a little bit more with it. But I love how they ended it. This spoiler for Brandman, but there's a sex scene and it didn't feel out of place. A lot of times it's like a weird sex scene. It was. I thought they did it well with what was going on during that whole scene. Yeah, and it obviously sets up other stuff, at the end of the episode where you're just like, crap. Yeah, now he's in it, So yeah.
Now you gotta be in.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm like, you're curious. Now you're, again, all these secrets and all these like things and questions. So yeah. It wasn't perfect. There's a lot of following around and stuff like that. But overall, I was like not bored or disappointed. So I don't know about you, Ryan.
I think I agree with what you're saying. I don't think I was bored or disappointed in anything, but I think that you could have done more. I really think you could have done more. I thought that they left a lot of things out there, and you set up a lot of stuff in episode 1 to not follow it up with episode 2.
Mm-hmm.
And that disappointed me. I thought that we should have had more world building, no matter how we do it.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, I think we're past that because now he's established in London, and he's not passing out flyers like the sexy, or whatever he was saying. It's like, so now we're gonna get into like some actual like, good stuff, and hopefully in the next episode. So
I'm down. Next episode, November 2nd.
Wait, oh yeah, I was like, wait, what? I'm like November. I was like, yeah, November is this weekend. Yeah. So it's gonna be weekly releases, which is good. Gives us a chance to talk about it every Monday. We'll chit chat about it. So if you're watching it, let us know. Delta Dan said so far way lower for me, maybe 4 out of 5. Oh wow, okay. Was it just kind of too slow for you too? But
nothing happened. I mean, for that second episode, I thought a lot happened in the first, but nothing happened in the second. And then you have a character you could care about.
Yeah. He's kind of like fresh, like he's not. You know, and they try to do that for everybody. You know, like Louis was like the fresh character. He was the new vampire. You know, Mayfair Rowan.
Rowan.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rowan. She was like the new witch. You know, so now you have this guy who's like the new person in this group. You know, so like, how's he gonna deal with it? You know, hopefully he doesn't, you know, have sex with his, you know, daughter sister or daughter husband or whatever, daughter wife. Yeah, like they did with Rowan. Yeah,
want to take care of her along with take care of her.
yeah. Oh man, that Mayfair Witches. But cool. Yeah. So we'll be talking about Talamasca every Monday. So if you guys are checking us out and you want to check it out live with us, we'll be here live every Monday talking about Talamasca. I'm excited for it. I think it's gonna be fun. I have my fingers crossed because I want to like it too. So a little bias on that. But yeah, we appreciate everyone coming in, hanging out with us. Make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, come and join us when we talk about Talamasca, and then interview with the vampire stuff and the Lestat stuff coming out sometime soon. So yeah, but we appreciate everyone in our live chat, and we want you guys to stick around because we're gonna move on to our next topic for the night.